Hey everyone, ready to explore the future of our cities.
Sounds exciting.
Today's deep dive takes us into the world of cutting-edge green tech. And get this,
Okay.
we're not just talking theory, but actual frameworks for making it happen.
I like it.
We're diving into a report from GRIDLAB, this super cool project by the World Bank and the European Commission.
Right, I've heard of them.
They're all about bringing those cities of the future fantasies to life and faster than we might think.
Yeah, they've put out some interesting stuff. What stood out to you?
Honestly, there's so much to unpack, but
Yeah.
what really grabs me is how practical it is. It's not just like, here's some cool tech, good luck. It's more like a how-to guide for cities.
That's great.
Yeah.
They're really tackling that implementation challenge, going beyond just showcasing the technology. It's one thing to have these amazing ideas, but turning them into reality, that's where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly. So let's dive into some of the cool tech, shall we?
Please.
Some of this stuff might be familiar,
Okay.
but other stuff had me wondering if I was reading a sci-fi novel.
Huh. I know what you mean. It's a real mixed bag, designed to show the breadth of what's possible. So we've got everything from familiar solar panels to things like transparent solar panels.
Hold on, transparent.
Yeah. Imagine your office windows generating energy.
Whoa.
That's huge for preserving the look of historic buildings while still going green, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And they didn't stop there. They're talking flexible panels that can be integrated into roofing tiles or even blinds.
Wow, it's like solar power is finally breaking free of those bulky panels and fitting seamlessly into our lives. I'm here for that.
Exactly. And it's not just solar. They're looking at wind energy in totally new ways, too.
Oh, how so?
Forget those massive wind farms we're used to seeing. GRIDLAB highlights vertical wind turbines designed for residential areas, even turbines integrated into roadways to capture energy from passing cars.
Hold on, harnessing the power of traffic jams. That's thinking outside the box.
That really is, and it speaks to a crucial theme in the report, capturing energy that's otherwise wasted.
I like that.
Another example of this is water generators that can work in slow-moving water like rivers and canals,
Interesting.
a particularly useful innovation for coastal cities.
So it's about leveraging what's already around us, finding those hidden energy sources. Speaking of which, something else really caught my eye in the report, heat pumps.
Oh yeah, heat pumps are fascinating.
I'll admit, I didn't know much about them before.
They're incredible. They're super efficient because they don't actually generate heat from scratch. They just move it around. So, for example, they can use the heat generated from cooling a building to simultaneously heat water.
Okay, that's just brilliant, and it highlights just how much energy we waste on heating and cooling. It's like a 2-for-1 deal on energy efficiency, right?
Exactly.
This is amazing.
But the report goes even further, looking at technologies still in development.
Yeah.
It even mentions special paint that could reflect sunlight and drastically cut down on the need for air conditioning.
Wow. Now that's forward thinking.
It is.
This whole section had me so hopeful. It paints a picture of cities not just consuming energy, but generating it.
It's powerful vision.
It is, but that brings up a big question, doesn't it?
Definitely. Affordability is key.
Yes. With all this incredible tech, how do cities actually afford it? That's the million-dollar question, right?
It really is. And that's where the GRIDLAB framework gets really interesting. They don't just tell cities to go chase government grants. They break down a whole array of options. What I find valuable is they dedicate a large portion of the report to practical financing models.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give us the highlights.
One key takeaway is that cities don't need to reinvent the wheel. They can integrate green initiatives into their existing budgets.
Makes sense.
They give the example of Cluj-Napoca in Romania, which offers tax breaks for energy-efficient buildings. This incentivizes sustainable practices without requiring a complete budgetary overhaul.
So it's about being smart with existing resources, weaving sustainability into the fabric of what's already happening.
Exactly. They also talk about participatory budgeting, which empowers residents to directly influence how their tax dollars are spent. Paris is a fantastic example of this. They dedicate 5% of their investment budget to citizen-voted projects, with environmental initiatives being a major focus.
Oh, wow. So it's like a citywide brainstorming session where everyone gets a say in shaping a greener future. I love that. It fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility within the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then there's venture capital, which we typically associate with tech startups. But the report points out that there's a surge in venture capital firms, specifically seeking out sustainable investments, with green tech being a prime example.
So environmentally conscious investors finally have options that align with their values, right? And it's not just about making money, but making a difference, too.
Precisely. The report even highlights individual investors, known as business angels. These are often successful entrepreneurs themselves who invest their own money in promising startups that resonate with their personal values. And increasingly, these values center around sustainability.
That's so inspiring to see individuals putting their money where their mouth is, supporting companies that are actively tackling environmental challenges. Okay, what else did GRIDLAB cover on the financial front?
Well, they dive into the world of green bonds.
Green bonds, huh? So are those like regular bonds, but for environmentally friendly projects?
You got it. Essentially, when a city issues a green bond, the money raised can only be used for projects with clear environmental benefits. They showcase cities like San Francisco and Stockholm, which have successfully implemented green bond initiatives to fund large-scale sustainability projects.
So instead of my money just sitting in a savings account, it's actually being put to work to make the world a better place. That's a pretty cool concept.
It is. And they get even more innovative with their financial models. They talk about the potential of blockchain, the tech behind cryptocurrency, to completely change how cities fund green projects.
Blockchain for the planet.
Imagine cities issuing their own blockchain tokens to support initiatives like GRIDLAB itself.
Okay, you're going to have to break this one down for me. It sounds incredibly complex.
It's definitely a new frontier, but the potential is huge. Basically, cities could issue these tokens, and individuals or even other organizations could buy them. The money raised would then go directly towards funding green projects. It's like a new wave of civic engagement, using technology to create transparency and ensure the funds are used exactly as promised.
So it's like crowdfunding on a whole new level, powered by blockchain technology. Did the report give any examples of cities actually doing this?
It did. It highlighted Reno, Nevada, which has been exploring the use of NFTs, those are digital assets built on blockchain, to fund the preservation of a public sculpture. It's a really creative example of how this technology is already being used for public good.
Wow. That's fascinating. Okay, I need a minute to wrap my head around all of this amazing tech and the innovative ways cities could finance it. It's a lot to take in.
Take your time. It's a lot to digest. But that's what makes the GRIDLAB report so remarkable. It doesn't just throw out a bunch of ideas and leave it at that. It connects these cutting-edge technologies with practical financing models, creating a comprehensive framework for cities to achieve real, tangible change.
And they don't just stop there, do they? The report actually offers concrete scenarios for how all of this could play out in a real city, right? Which I think is super helpful for our listener who's probably eager to see how this could actually work.
You're exactly right. They provide a blueprint for turning these innovative concepts into tangible solutions. That's what sets GRIDLAB apart. It bridges the gap between ambitious ideas and real-world implementation.
Okay, so give me an example that will really hit home for our listener. Something that feels achievable, not just a futuristic fantasy.
Let's talk about something many of us are familiar with: apartment buildings. Imagine a city decides to use a combination of EU funds and green bonds to retrofit a single apartment building as a pilot project.
Okay, I can picture that. What kind of upgrades are we talking about?
They suggest a multi-pronged approach, combining transparent solar windows, significantly improved insulation, and those super efficient heat pumps we discussed earlier. The idea is to create a model for how these technologies can work together to significantly reduce energy consumption for the entire building.
And because it's a pilot project, it's less risky financially and can serve as a model for other buildings if it's successful.
Exactly. And here's what I find really compelling. The residents benefit directly through lower energy bills. So it's a win-win-win situation. It's good for the planet, good for people's wallets, and good for the city's overall sustainability goals.
It's a fantastic example of how green technology can improve people's lives in a tangible way. It's not just some abstract concept. It's about making cities healthier, more livable, and more affordable.
Absolutely. And that's what I find so powerful about the GRIDLAB framework. It focuses on practical solutions, real-world scenarios, and the immense potential for positive change at a local level.
It's not just a report full of pie-in-the-sky ideas. It's a call to action, a blueprint for building a greener future. And it all starts right here, right now.
It really does make you think.
Yeah.
What stands out to you from all of this? What sparks your imagination?
There's so much to be excited about. Is it the futuristic technology, like those transparent solar panels or those energy-storing sand batteries we briefly touched on? Or maybe it's the creativity of those financing models, like using blockchain tokens or green bonds to fund these projects.
Or perhaps it's the realization that cities have more power than they realize to be the driving force behind this green revolution.
Because let's be honest, we've been talking about going green for decades now. But the GRIDLAB report feels different. It feels actionable, achievable, and maybe even a little bit exciting.
It certainly challenges the idea that green innovation is too expensive or too complicated. GridLab demonstrates that the solutions are out there. We just need the collective vision and the willpower to put them into action.
And that's where you, the listener, come in. Imagine the possibilities if your city embraced the GRIDLAB framework. What if your community could be at the forefront of this green revolution?
This raises an important question for you to ponder. If you could design the city of the future, what role would these innovative technologies play? What kind of future do you want to invest in?
It really makes you think, what kind of future do you want to invest in? For me, I'm picturing a city where my energy bills are practically non-existent
Right.
because my building is generating its own power, and getting around is easy and doesn't pollute the planet.
It's a future within reach.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just the technology itself. I think about residents taking charge, working with their city to make these innovative ideas a reality. That's the kind of future GridLab really emphasizes, and it's incredibly inspiring.
It really is. The report got me thinking about something that wasn't explicitly mentioned, but it feels like a natural next step.
Go.
What if, cities all over, I don't know, started collaborating and sharing their successes and even their challenges as they put these ideas into action?
That's a fantastic point. Imagine a global network of green innovation, cities learning from each other, speeding up the adoption of these game-changing technologies. It could be this incredible ripple effect, pushing the entire movement forward so much faster.
Exactly. Sharing data, comparing what's working, and supporting each other through the bumps in the road. It wouldn't be a competition, but a true team effort to create a more sustainable future for everyone.
It's a powerful vision for the future. And, it ties back to that idea of cities being the leaders in the fight against climate change. Imagine a world where cities are judged not just on their economies, but also on their commitment to sustainability.
That's the kind of competition I can get behind, where striving for a greener future becomes expected, not this special thing. And where everyone, no matter where they live, has access to clean energy and a healthy environment. It's a future worth striving for. And the exciting part is that GridLab gives us a roadmap. This deep dive has given you a peek into what's possible, but now it's your turn.
What do you think, listeners? Ready to dive deeper? The GridLab report is out there for everyone to see. You can check out the technologies, the financing models, all of it. Start imagining how it could transform your city, your neighborhood, even your own block.
Think about the conversations you can start, the questions you can ask. Because even small steps, when enough people take them, can create incredible change.
That's what I love about all of this. The future of green energy isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we build together. And that's a future I'm incredibly hopeful for.